Welcome back for Food for Thought Tuesdays. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Today, I guess I want to vent a little. I have been single for, about 12 years. And with a brief little encounter on and off type thing when I came here about 5 years ago, but that was really nothing. I hate to say, but I'm very content being single. I don't have any drama. I don't have to worry about him cheating on me, being faithful and stuff, which that's a big part of the past relationships I've had. They've always been messed up in that sort. I had 5 kind of long relationships. One of them was for 12 years. I had 2 for like 4.5 years. And the other 2 were like 7 months and a little one. The other one was a little over a year. But they all came with a lot of deceivement. We'll just put it that way. I won't get into it, but it turned me away from like trusting any man. And now that I am single, I seem to be a lot more happier. I don't have to tell anybody anything. I don't have to, I can do whatever I want. I can come home when I want, or do nothing at all. But even though I'm alone, I'm not lonely, and like I talk about it, there is a big difference. I have a very, I think, fulfilled life. Okay? I do stay pretty active, whether it's physical or mentally active, but as I witness people that are in relationships, whether they're just strangers and I hear them talk, or co-workers, or whatever, most of them, and I want to say well over half, I'd say even as high as 70% of them are just not happy, for whatever reason. And it kind of confirms to me that a relationship for me is not feasible. It is not something that I want. It may change in years to come. I can't predict the future. I may meet this amazing man, who knows. But for now, all I see is heartbreak, turmoil, people staying together just to say I'm married or I'm in a relationship, and, they want to pretend they're not lonely. But honestly, I think a lot of people in relationships, even long-term marriages, are very lonely people. I can do anything by myself. I can go to the movies, I can go out to eat, I can travel. I can, go to the lounge, listen to music by myself, and mingle with other people if I choose to. Um, I don't know how. I would like to know how you guys feel about the relationship nowadays. Well, I don't know. It's been going since May, but it just seems harder nowadays, and I believe it is because of you have the dating sites. You have Messenger, you have all these, sites, Instagram, Facebook, all that. That kind of interferes with the relationships. Not that obviously they couldn't cheat before, but it was a lot harder and they had to go physically do it and stuff. Now they can do it all online. I mean, it just seems so too accessible for me. And I think people forget about taking care of the relationship that is right in front of them. I see so many couples, whether, I think I'm sorry, I think there's an ant or something on me. They'll be out to eat or whatever. And they're sitting across from each other, and they're not even talking. They're on their phone scrolling and stuff. That's just, how can there be a connection? Whether it is them just getting to know each other, first date, been together for 20 years, whatever. How can they keep a connection going when they are not mentally present? Drop in the comments, are you in a relationship? I don't want details, but, is it happy? Do you see hope for me? Like, it seems nothing but games. Everybody wants to play head games and stuff, and I'm just not there anymore. And I know the spirituality has a lot to do with it. I look for different things I just don't accept anymore. I'm sure not going to settle for anything. Nobody should have to settle for a relationship, for love. I guess what prompted this was I'm sitting at the park. I was just in my car. I was reading a little bit, and this lady was next to me in her vehicle. She had the window rolled down, I had mine rolled down and stuff. And she was just crying her eyes out. Just somebody over the phone or whatever, about her man. And, saying how tired of it she is and stuff like that. And why does this keep happening and all that? And it just reinforces, like, I don't know. I just don't know what to think about. I'll be 62 next month. Okay? I don't want to be a dater. I don't want to date somebody. I know you have to date to start out with, but I'm just saying, if I want a relationship, I want to find that one. I mean, I want it to be the one, the last. I don't want to continuously just go out there on dates. Why is it so hard? I don't understand this. But let me know. Let me know if you've been in a relationship for a while. Did you guys meet online? I'm just curious how many people are really happy, not content, not settled, but genuinely happy in their relationships. And I want it for more than a few years. I don't want something new and saying, oh my God, it's great, because I want somebody that's been in a relationship for at least a few years. And if you have secrets to tell me, like on how you're keeping the man, woman, I don't want to say satisfied, because I'm not talking about sexual, but you know what I mean, mentally stimulated, I guess, is what I need to know. Please comment and let me know, because I just don't know. I'm like very confused what I want now. I just know that I don't want any burdens anymore. I want somebody to add to my life, not complete it. My life is complete already. I want them to add to it. But please let me know in the comment, and thank you very much for watching the whole video and my rant. I don't rant very often, but I don't know. It kind of bothered me, I guess, sitting there listening to that and her crying. But let me know, and I'll see you next week. Bye.